The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
A reading from the conclusion of the Holy Gospel according to Luke.
Glory to you, O Lord.
Jesus said to his disciples, "Thus it is written that the Christ would suffer and rise from the dead on the third day, and that repentance for the forgiveness of sins would be preached in his name to all the nations, beginning from Jerusalem. You are witnesses of these things. And behold, I am sending the promise of my Father upon you. But stay in the city until you are clothed with power from on high." Then he led them out as far as Bethany, raised his hands and blessed them. As he blessed them, he parted from them and was taken up to heaven. They did him homage and then returned to Jerusalem with great joy, and they were continually in the temple, praising God. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
At the beginning of Mass, I should have mentioned the presence of our concelebrant, Father Robert Van Sickler, who's with us from Portland today. I guess I didn't mention it because I'm just so used to having him here. He was here with us about a month ago, and it seems like just normal to have him, so welcome again. We are now in the 7th week of the Easter season. That's a lot of time to devote to one central event. And next week we will conclude the Easter season with the Feast of Pentecost, which is the sending of the third person of the Blessed Trinity. The events of Easter and of Lent involve the second person of the Blessed Trinity, the Son of God, Jesus Christ, sent by the Father. And so, as we near the end of this Easter season, we can helpfully look back on the events of Jesus' life and death and resurrection that have been presented to us in the liturgy, and to see what this might have to say to us as to how we are to live out this Easter season. Jesus Christ, Christian faith proclaims, is man and God. Man and God. And if we take those two words, it's a good way to look through the season that is coming to a close. Because as we entered into this Easter season, we began with Holy Week, which centers on the passion of Jesus Christ. This man who undergoes the way of the cross and undergoes crucifixion is, without any doubt, a real man. That's what strikes one front and center, is that this is a man like us. He suffers dreadfully. He is crucified. The nails are driven into his flesh. The blood flows. He is executed as a criminal. He is laid in the tomb and buried for 3 days. The whole emphasis is that this is a dead man. But then everything shifts on Sunday of Easter when we celebrate the resurrection of the Son of God. And what we see there, front and center, is that this man who was dead is really alive. He is a living man. He comes to his disciples immediately after his resurrection, and what does he say? "Do you have anything to eat? Take your hand and put it into my side." This is the body of a living man, the risen one. Not some empty spirit, but a living man. Indeed, the same man, they recognized him, Jesus of Nazareth. And for 40 days he appeared to his disciples when they least expected it, And then we come to the feast that we celebrate today, the Feast of the Ascension, where we could say it is clear to us that this man is really God. He is God, man. Because he is, as the readings from the Scriptures today tell us, he is taken up to heaven. He is at the right hand of the Father, and he promises to send the Spirit of the living God. Who can send the Spirit but God himself? And so the liturgy takes us today to this height that the man Jesus is and always was God, man. This is an extraordinary vision of human life. Imagine if you had never heard this before, never ever heard this before. What an astounding thing to say. And that's exactly how it strikes people when they hear it for the first time. And so we need to recover that amazement at the goodness of our God, that he would so completely enter into our life and to share everything with us and then take us all up to himself, to his divine life.